Kenzie with Gypsy Yoga by Kenzie. Today we're going to do like a beginning sequence for beginners, people who have never done yoga before. It'll be super simple and really calm and relaxing. So if you have any props like blocks, you can even use books. Books work well. Or you can grab a blanket or a towel. This may be helpful for when we're down on the ground. It's okay if you don't have any props. I'm going to give you lots of modifications throughout the practice. So, we're going to begin in Sukhasana, which is easy pose. Although they call it easy pose, it's not that easy. I'll explain. So, it's pretty much crisscross applesauce. You can have your feet however you want. You can lay them out with one in front of the other. You can stack them, whatever feels comfortable for you. I personally like to have mine kind of like this. If my ankles are stacked upon each other, they kind of hurt. So I like to have them each side by side on the mat. Then we'll start from the ground up, root to rise. So your sitting bones are on the mat. Take your hands and go ahead and move the fat away from those sitting bones so you're directly sitting on your bones. Then at your pelvic area, you want to kind of have it tilt forward. So let me see if I could show you. So we're normally used to rounding our back here. Like we just sit like this a lot. So we want to change that. We want to bring our chest up, straighten our back, move the sitting bones, and tilt our pelvis forward, okay? The tilt of the pelvis forward allows us to get that straight spine up. Then just relax your shoulders and bring them down. You can have your hands on your knees. So this is Sukhasana. Here, we want to get a deep, nice breath in through your nose, out through your nose. Take a few deep breaths here. As you start to gather that steady breath, you want to have a constrict breath in the back of your throat. So it's called Ujjayi breath, ocean breath. So you know when you fog up a mirror or a window, that noise? You want to feel that in the back of your throat when you're inhaling and when you're exhaling. So, get a nice and steady breath and set an intention for your practice today. Try to clear out everything that's on your mind, your busy schedules, the stress you may be having right now. Just throw it out the window and focus on yourself today. Focus on your breath when you inhale and when you exhale. Clear your mind. We're going to begin with some neck rolls to warm up the top of your spine, your neck. So just gently roll your neck to one side. If it hurts to go too far back, don't go so far back. Just kind of stop in the center and go forward. switch to the other side. All right. And then we're going to lift our hands up in the air. Inhale. And on your exhale, we are going to do a simple twist to the right side, okay? With your left hand on your right knee and your right hand behind you on the ground, lifting that chest, straightening that spine, and just twist it simply. You don't have to overdo it here. Just a simple twist, getting that spine warm. Inhale, exhale. Inhale it back to center, hands up in the air. And on your exhale, twist to the other side, right hand on your left knee, left hand behind you. Chest lifts, just a simple twist here. Inhale, exhale. Inhale back to center, arms lift in the air. Concentrating on keeping that back straight. On your exhale, we're going to take your right arm under your left arm and give yourself a nice big hug. It's okay if your arms don't go so far back here. You just want to get kind of that shoulder stretch and arm stretch here. Lift your elbows up so it gives it a deeper stretch. Inhale, exhale. And switch your arms. One breath there. On your next exhale, if you have a blanket, you can use it to sit on. If that feels comfortable, you want to take your sitting bones right to the edge of that blanket so you have that forward tilt of the pelvis. Straighten your legs directly in front of you. This is Dandasana, staff pose, okay? Flex your toes, pointing them towards yourself. Same as Sukhasana, the easy pose. You want that straight spine, chest lifted, shoulders back. This may be hard for some people with their lower back, which is okay. If this is too much for you, bend your knees here. You can put a blanket under your knees to give you support. It's okay to bend your knees. We will work on flexibility here. So still keeping those toes flexed, that chest lifted. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, gently forward fold. You can touch your toes if you can, your shins. You can touch the ground. You just kind of want to build that stretch through your legs here, keeping those toes flexed. Stay here for a couple of breaths. This should feel really good on your lower back here. Now, if you are flexible enough, you can start to straighten your legs to where you're comfortable. You don't have to touch your toes. It's all good. On your next inhale, slowly roll that spine back up to Dandasana and straightening that spine. Placing your hands down to the sides of your body to give you support. We're gonna ankle roll here. So roll your ankles, get some flexibility in those ankles and warm them up. You can go both ways, all ways. Just rolling those ankles. Flexing them, pointing, flexing, pointing. right. When you're ready, come to a tabletop position on all fours. Knees are hip-width distance apart. Spread the same distance of your hips, directly below your hips, and your shoulders are directly above your wrists here, and those are also shoulder-width distance apart. Spread your fingers wide on the mat. You want to press through your knuckle pads. You can keep your toes tucked for a toe stretch or untuck them. Also, if your knees are hurting on the mat right now, take your blanket or towel and put it under your knees for support. It always helps me. Okay? Cat and cows. So when you inhale, you're going to tuck your chin to your chest, roll your spine up in the air, tuck your tummy to your spine. This is a cat pose. Really stretch here in the spine. On your exhale, you're going to roll your spine the opposite way, pushing your tummy to the floor, chest to the floor, chin up for cow. Inhale, tucking your chin to your chest, pulling up that tummy through the spine, stretching. Exhale, cow. Do a couple more of these at your own pace. Take it nice and slow. On your next inhale, come back to a center tabletop, back straight. This is going to warm up your hips a little bit. We're going to do some rolls. So in the tabletop position, gently roll your hips from one side to the back, to the other side, to the front of the mat. You can do this however you want. You can do a full roll. If that's uncomfortable, you can just wag your tail, get some movement in that hip. You can even just go back and forth or side to side. We're also stretching our wrists here. Whatever feels comfortable, get some natural movement, let loose. And you can even keep doing cat and cows if that feels good to you. All right. On your next inhale, put your toes together, spread your knees wide, about the mat distance, and sit back on your heels. This is child's pose. Stretch your arms out in front of you, forehead to the mat. I know this may not be accessible for everybody, so what you could do, take a block and put it under your bottom and sit on it. If your bottom does not touch your heels, that's fine. The block may help. You can put it at whatever angle you need to for support and reach down. If your forehead does not touch the mat, you can also use a block here and put your forehead to the mat. If your knees can't go as wide as the mat, you can bring your knees in. Whatever feels the most comfortable for you. Child's pose is a nice, easy rest pose to do. You can also put the blanket under your heels, or instead of a block, you can take the blanket and put it above your calves, under your thighs, in between your bottom and your heels, and sit on the blanket. And just stretch here. Forehead to the mat, you can roll your forehead back and forth. This feels so good. Just stretch forward with your hands. take some deep breaths here. Beautiful. Come back up to your tabletop position. Wrists underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. You can stay here in tabletop position with your toes tucked, or you can move into down dog. To move into down dog, tuck your toes, push into the mat with your hands, and lift your knees above the floor. Hover them above the floor. On your next inhale, push up into the sky through your hands and lift your hips high in the air, keeping your knees deeply bent. Keep your knees bent here and start pedaling your feet, pushing the mat away from you in your hands. So push the mat away. This is a warm-up down dog. So pedal those feet, get your legs and feet warmed up. You can stay with your knees bent. Your heels do not have to touch the ground. If you can, straighten your legs and take 3 deep breaths here. In through your nose, out through your nose. Your heels do not have to touch the ground. You can even have your knees deeply bent. Try and keep your back at a neutral stance. You do not want to put your chest all the way down like this, and you don't want to be like this. You want to be neutral, with your head in line with your arms, and your fingers are spread wide. Beautiful. Inhale, look at your hands. Walk gently to the front of your mat to meet your hands with your feet. Inhale, half lift, meaning straighten your legs, put your hands on your shins, neutral spine, and look forward. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees. Let your head hang. Inhale. Slowly roll your spine up into a standing position for a Tadasana, mountain pose. Mountain pose is very powerful. Have your feet spread hip distance apart. Spread your toes out wide. You want to balance between the 3 corners of your feet, your big toe mound, your little toe mound, and your heel. Pulling up through the inner arches of your feet like you have bootstraps. So pull up those bootstraps. Pull up through your shins. Pull up through your kneecaps. Really pull through your your thighs. Kind of have an inward spiral of those thighs so that when you tighten all your muscles, you have an inner spiral. Your tailbone sticks out a little bit and then just tuck it in. Pull up through your core here. Lift your shoulders to your ears and then drop them back. Palms are open. Inhale. This is a nice, strong foundational mountain pose. So pulling up through all of these muscles here. Lifting your chest into the air. Inhale your arms above your head. Exhale, hands out beside you, flow down for a forward fold. In your forward fold, you can have your knees bent. If you are flexible, you can have your legs straight. Inhale, half lift, hands to your shins, neutral spine, look forward. There should be a slight back bend in your lower back here. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, step your right foot back. You may need your blanket here. We're going into a crescent moon. So stepping your right foot back, you can lower your knee on the blanket or your mat, untuck your foot. If you have blocks, you can take your blocks here, which are very helpful. Put them beside your left foot on each side. Lift your chest, straighten your spine. You can stay here or inhale your arms above head. Really sitting deep into that hip here on your other side. Shoulders away from your ears. Inhale your hands back down to the mat or your blocks. You can have the blocks here, you can keep them here. Tuck that back foot and push back into plank position. Keeping your hands on your blocks, you can lower your knees. If you're not using blocks, if you're just on the mat, you can do a modified plank here. Toes tucked. This is plank or a modified plank. Really pushing down into the mat with your hands, broadening your shoulders here, pushing through your heels or on the mat. Exhale, start bending at your elbows, keeping them near your rib cage, lowering down to the floor. Chaturanga. Push up, cobra pose. Legs are strong, flexing your muscles and keeping your hips touching the floor. Bending your elbows, lifting your chest. Inhale, tuck your toes. Push back into all fours, tabletop position. You can stay in tabletop or go into your full down dog. Hips are lifted high in the air. Knees can be bent, pushing the mat away from you with your hands. Take a few deep breaths here. Don't worry about your heels touching the floor. We'll work on that. Inhale, look at your hands. Walk, step, or jump to the front of your mat. Feet meeting your hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, slowly roll all the way up to standing, hands above head. Exhale, hands in prayer position in front of your heart. Inhale, hands above head. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Looking forward, hands on shins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stepping your your left foot back, dropping your knee on the mat or your blanket, untucking your toes. Taking your blocks here if you need to, beside your right foot, pushing into the floor of your blocks, lifting that chest. You can stay here or inhale your arms above head for a crescent moon lunge. Inhale, exhale. Inhale your hands back down to the mat or your blocks. Tuck that back foot, push back into plank. You can stay on your blocks, drop your knees. You can also move your blocks, keeping your knees dropped for a modified plank, pushing up if you can to a regular plank. Pushing into the mat with your hands, broadening your shoulder blades, pushing through your heels. Pay attention here. You don't want your boot bottom up, and you do not want to be sagging here, okay? Push the mat away from you with your shoulders, broadening your shoulder blades, tightening your core. You can even do this in modified plank. Inhale, slow exhale, slowly bend at your elbows, keeping them near your rib cage, lowering down to the floor. Chaturanga. Untuck your toes, push up, cobra. Keeping your elbows bent, hips on the floor, legs are strong. Shoulders are back. You want to pay attention to your collarbones. You want them lifted. Inhale, tuck your toes, push back to all fours, tabletop, or straight into down dog, pushing the mat away from you with your hands. Hips are lifted high in the air, knees are bent. Take 3 breaths here. Inhale, look at your hands, walk, step, or jump to the front of your mat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, hands on shin, looking forward. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up, hands above head, hands touch at the top. Exhale, bring them down in front of your heart. Inhale, hands above head. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift your heels. Get on your tippy toes. Bend your knees deeply for a yogi ball. Your bottom touches your heels, and when you're ready, sit back. Lay down on your back. Bring your knees to your chest. Hug them close. Rock side to side, giving yourself a back massage. Hug them to your chest. Put your arms out to the side. And take your knees, both of them stacked upon each other, to the right side for a supine twist. If you need support here in the supine twist, you can also have the blanket under your head or a towel. So your knees are hugged to your chest, arms are out beside you. Knees are together. You're gonna bring them to your right side. If you can, let them touch the ground. But if you can't go that far, take a block and put them under your knees. You can also use a blanket and look to your left side. Inhale, come back to center. Give yourself a nice big hug. Hands back into a T. And twist your legs to the other side, to the left side. Again, you can use the block for support. And look to your right side. Getting that deep stretch right here in that spine. When you take your inhale, try and push that breath to the back ribs. Inhale, come back to center. Give yourself one last big hug. Rock side to side, giving your lower back a massage. Stretch your arms and legs out. Hands above head, legs beneath you. And give yourself a nice big stretch. And we're going into Shavasana. Whatever feels comfortable for a nice relaxing position here. You can go into Supta Baddha Konasana, which is your feet together, legs spread wide, or just a normal laying down position is fine. You want to feel heavy, sink everything into the ground. Try and be as still as you can with no movement. You can put a pillow or a blanket underneath your head. Spread your feet wide and let them just hang. Relax every muscle in your body. Clear every thought in your head. Relax your stomach. Relax your face. Relax your shoulders into the ground. Relax your jaw. Release your tongue. Relax your mind. If a thought tries to creep up, just throw it out. Concentrate on your inner breath. Concentrate when you take an inhale, your tummy lifts, and when you exhale, it sinks into the floor. Go back to your normal breathing pattern and start to bring movement into your toes, into your fingers. You can stay here for longer if you need to. That is perfectly fine. Stay here as long as you need. But if you're ready, go ahead and bend your knees, putting your feet on the floor, turning your whole body to either side into the fetal position, using your arm as a rest, and your other palm is on the floor, sending that energy into the earth. Take one deep breath here. When you inhale, breathe into those back ribs and really expand your lungs. Using only your arms, lift yourself easily up and back into a comfortable seated position. Palms together to your heart. Thank you everybody for practicing with me today. I enjoyed your presence. I hope you got some calmness out of this practice. Thank you so much. Namaste. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for more yoga and where we'll be next.